Let's get educated. That's why we're here, to bring you the stories impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses. It's time for a little education.
Hello, everyone. How are you all out there in the land? I'm doing just fine. I'm Katie Patrick, by the way. That's David Fiorazzo. If you haven't been around,
how you doing?
That's who we are.
Good. Here we are.
But
let's do this.
We're always here, and you probably
week.
are too. Yeah, middle of the week. So let's get to it. Just a quick reminder that you can catch Educated on the go by simply subscribing to the podcast on your favorite platform. And obviously, you don't want to forget to download the Freedom Project app and to click yes for notifications. Well, COVID, can we say that out loud? Still?
Yeah.
Yep.
It depends on how you say it. It depends on how you say it.
If I say it in the mirror.
And in what context. You may or may not be deleted, but we can say...
I'll risk it, just as I did before.
We can say headlines.
COVID forced numerous colleges to shut their doors, of course, but one specific type of college has closed more than the rest, and it doesn't bode well for the future of this very country. David,
it doesn't.
What type are we talking about specifically?
What we're talking about
here
is Christian colleges.
Oh, yes.
I found this to be a little interesting, that according to this, over 40% of colleges closed since COVID-19 are Christian. So a lot of reasons for this, but this one, it talks about colleges that closed, that they were consolidated. Some of them have consolidated since the start of the pandemic. And Katie, again, remind you, what year was that? 2019? And here we are in 2023.
2020. Yeah, 2020.
Getting ready to start about
when it went down.
A new pandemic coming down the road from the Biden administration. But anyway, according to Higher Ed Dive's Public and Private Nonprofit College Tracker, so National Student Clearinghouse's fall 2020 estimates, enrollment in two-year colleges dropped by 21%, or over 207,000 students, a rate of nearly 20 times higher than the decline pre-COVID, pre-pandemic.
Just note, I think this is twofold. So you're looking at specific universities where they're saying like, hey, we have the money, but according to accreditation stuff in this case, which was the Alliance University in New York, their accreditation got pulled, like from like the official, the officials. So what's happening is certain things are kind of just happening where even though they can make financial situations work out, they're getting their accreditation pulled. Some of that I think is coming though because people like us have been harping on universities for so long, saying don't go to, it's maybe not worth going to college anymore. What's the degree worth? And the people who actually are listening to us about this are the Christians, the Christian students, the Christian families who are like, and they're like actually literally, families. They're looking at, is it worth going to? So the universities that will be hit the most will be the Christian universities. But let's take a look at this and we'll come back.
More than 36 schools have shut their doors, merged, or announced plans to close since the pandemic. 20 of those schools were religious institutions. Since 2016, 44% of college closures have been religious schools. While many were already struggling before 2020, COVID was the final push for many religious schools in financial trouble.
There are two significant issues that are affecting higher education right now, specifically through the admission and enrollment offices. Number one, it is the admission cliff, and that is the impending decline. We'll be graduating our lowest high school classes by population in 2025. And most enrollment professionals have been wringing their hands about this date of 2025, but many schools have seen those enrollment declines already. With the downturn in the economy that happened in 2007, 2008, there were simply less people born, but they were less people born specifically in different regions of the country, the Northeast, the Middle Atlantic states, and the Midwestern states. Right now, the majority of brick and mortar colleges and universities are in those places.
Okay, so we're gonna take it back, which there's obviously something to be said about that. Going back when the recession hit, and then people not having babies. But guess what? People aren't having babies, so it's not gonna get better on that front. It's more, I think, my 2 cents says, if we keep having colleges not providing quality product, why would you go there? And the ones who, again, are going to listen more tend to be the Christian families who are like, nope, we're just not going to go to college at all. And hopefully they're not choosing to not go to the Christian college, but to go to like the public university. Hopefully that's not the case, because that is even more detrimental. So it's an interesting story that it's, you know, always the little guy getting squeezed.
And the religious colleges, some of them actually follow the Bible, others don't. But it's interesting that it seems that money is not an issue for a lot of the universities. They're investing heavily in the DEI programs and positions, whether that be faculty, you know, staff, the positions, or the curriculum, you know, putting this in. Campus Reform has reported that some universities are choosing to invest in gender-affirming resources. So they might not have money to keep some colleges open, but others are saying, hey, yeah, push the DEI, bring it in. And we're going to hear more stories. I've just been reading up on some of that too. We talked about some a few weeks ago. University of Michigan, I think. Major dollars are being pumped into certain universities for DEI, and just like, where do they get this money, right?
Well,
where does it come from?
From all the debt that the kids are collecting, because money grows on trees and they won't have to pay it back. That's what's happening. So what's going to happen, I think, you know, look at any college campus and see what are the administrators, what kind of vehicles are they driving, where do they live.
So next, we're going to talk about a Wisconsin university that's pushing they're pushing the positive impact of, ready?
Ooh.
Polyamorous relationships.
Oh, okay.
Citing one of the most ridiculous benefits I've ever heard. That's next.
Everything just keeps getting weirder. It's just weird. And we have more weird words I'm about to say that I don't understand, and you could turn your ears off for all I care, because this is just weird and I don't think anyone should care about it. But it's happening at the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Go Panthers, I guess. Their LGBTQ plus resource center recently posted an Instagram infographic regarding one of the hidden gems, they say, hidden gems of polyamory.
What?
Yeah, you know, petamors. That's the hidden gem. It's an extra family that you gain in polyamory, according to UWM LGBTQRC.
Oh, jeez.
Because that's Resource Center. That's their Instagram handle. 40 likes they got when they sent this out initially. 40. It's probably all the people who work there, you know.
So the new word that we're talking about is petamors.
Oh, yes.
And
the post itself,
Okay,
tells you what it is. Petamors, you know. Come on, David, you know petamors. It's a pet that you get to enjoy due to being part of a polyamorous relationship or a polycule. And I'm like, what's a polycule?
What?
Yes, the term is it's basically a mishmash of the words of metamor, which again, what's a metamor? I'm just going on a rabbit hole.
Not a metaphor, but
no, a metamor.
Metamor.
Which the polyamory, there's a polyamory dictionary, and I'm like, I can't even get through one sentence to figure out one of the words, and now they're giving me 4 different words.
So
anyway,
basically, it's your lover.
Polyamory dictionary defines as someone that your romantic partner is in such a relationship with, but you are not, and a pet.
What?
All right, so a metamor, because I'm going with what is a petamor or the polycule, but then the metamor is the polyamor is saying. So put that slide back up. Basically, the easy way to say this, according to them, is it's your lava's lava. Your lava has a lava.
A metamor
according to them, in a polyamory, you may
lover's
have a romantic relationship with someone who has more than one ongoing romantic relationship.
Trying to keep up here.
Someone that your romantic partner is in such a relationship with, but you are not. That is what the metamor is. So it's your lava's lava.
Basically, like someone that your partner's having an adulterous affair with, or I'm kidding.
It's the other woman.
Why are we talking about this?
Exactly.
Because this is at a university.
Back in the day, we would just say it's the other woman. Like, you know.
This is at a university. That's why we're talking about this. They're coming up with new words, redefining others, and now we're talking about metamors, and
it sounds like it should be like the Pokemon characters, like Charizard and Pokemon and Pikachu.
petamors.
Whatever. I don't know the characters, obviously. But
Oh my goodness.
a metamor Or is it a dinosaur? Kind of like a dinosaur. But not. Now, the Post does distinguish between the terms polyamorous relationship and polycule. Okay, I have no idea. Yep.
Okay.
It defines the former, which is the polyamorous relationship, as a relationship where at least one person is consensually involved with more than one partner. And then the polycule is a label to describe all people connected in or by a relationship in which more than two people are involved. So that's when a polycule is like when the other woman gets involved, apparently. I don't know. Now, along with bonding with your metamors, you get to meet and love their pets too. Yes, so we're interspecies, I guess. We're doing that. Petamors can also be a way to see if pet ownership is right for you. You also might bond with a new type of pet and fall in love.
What? Okay.
So, hold on, David. This is
Yeah.
my opportunity.
All
You're not going to like this because you have pets.
All right.
All right, all of you people
Careful.
out there in the land who love their animals more than seemingly humans. You love your doggy. You love your cat. You dress them up. You take them places. You treat them as a child. You treat them kind of as a lover. You now have a word. Petamore.
Petamore.
The more you know.
Okay. Dressing up pets. Anyway, I want to mention one thing. We didn't mention the school's sex week.
Oh, yes. All right.
Apparently, that's why this whole thing is coming up
Oh.
as a thing.
Whoops.
It says a spokesperson for the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee said, "We were concerned that the issues of consent, safety, and healthy relationships were being lost in the week's activities." Sex week, right? We were concerned that these other issues that, safety, healthy relationships were being lost. Well, you kind of lost healthy relationships decades ago
Well, yes.
when you said anything goes. All
Well,
right.
here's the thing. They've been all these sex weeks that they have seemingly all the time. It seems like every week is sex week, basically, on a college campus now. So they're like trying
It's kind of like Pride Month. It's all year
Yeah, it's
round.
all year round.
Sex week is like,
So-
what differentiates one week from the next?
So now they're like, ooh, we need to come up with a new thing because we've basically run the gamut, I think, on all the different everythings with sex week. So now, let's get the pets involved.
Oh, boy.
Petamore. Now,
You've gone too far. You've pushed the boundaries.
so all of you who love your pets, maybe
Careful.
a little too much, maybe you want to reconsider your
Come on.
actions. Now, a downside of the petamores, according to the infographic, it's the grief of losing a pet when a relationship will end. When Grover says, "No more. I'm going out on my own. I don't need you. I found another something," if it was a kitty. Anyway, when you create a strong bond with a pet, it can be hard to lose that connection. This is according to the infographic. Depending on the situation, you might even miss your petamore more than your ex-partner or metamors.
Okay, well, you would miss your petamore more than your metamore because your pet is your pet and your metamore is someone else's lover? Did I get that right? Am I following along here?
Your lover's lover.
Am I keeping up?
with the
sorry.
mores?
I'm sorry.
I don't know that you are. I don't know that I am.
Don't send your kids to
And hopefully
these universities.
Hopefully you have not been listening this entire past segment because we are all dumber for having listened to it. But coming up, for many on the left, Mother Gaia is the holy deity. But if you had to give up things like, gas-powered cars, social media, oh no, having kids, smartphones, you have to give all this up. What would you actually be willing to live your life without to appease?
To save the world?
To save the world. Save the cheerleader, save the world. We're going to see what Generation Z is saying about what they would be willing to give up to Mother Gaia.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on pristine quality bedding, towels, slippers, signature pillows, and much more when you use the code EDUCATED. That's EDUCATED. Educated. Support this show and a great American company.
Survey says, also on that note, just made me say a little moment of silence for the Bob Barker who we just lost last week. Made me think of that when I said survey says, even though it's a different game show.
Yeah, I
Bob
got
Barker,
confused
what a great guy.
Because I remember the survey says.
Anyway, back to it. Now we have survey results coming out of college students. You know, what is it that they're willing to give up for the betterment of society? You know, what would they be willing to, you know, for the name of Mother Gaia here?
Well,
Mother Gaia,
Katie, I think we need to go back to even a previous foundational question or point that they are already believing that human beings are the problem on the planet and overpopulation is an issue, and they've got to, you know, climate change. They're all about climate change and social activism. So that's just kind of got to be an understood fact here before we go into this. And now they're asking kids, okay, so you believe this strongly that, you know, we're destroying the planet.
Yes.
So now they're saying, all right, what would you give up?
Yeah, basically now for them, that isn't even like a dispute.
Right.
It's not debatable at all. That is
right.
their, like you said, that is their
That's their
foundation.
worldview.
This is their worldview. Okay, so more college kids, and this isn't surprising based on having that worldview, more college kids would rather sacrifice having children, not sacrificing children, but sacrificing
Well, they do that too, Planned
the
Parenthood.
actual having the children. They're like, okay, we won't have kids and we won't eat meat, but if you take my cell phone away, how dare you? That's basically what it comes down to. Mid-August, they got this poll that was published from the Young America's Foundation, and the survey was facilitated by Echelon Insights. They asked 812 college students, so not, I mean, a decent size, but not that big of a size. 812 college students about mid-July about this variety of topics, including this question. So the question they were asked: to mitigate climate change. They kind of preface this. Oh, we need to mitigate the climate change. Students are most likely to be willing to give up or cut down on gas-powered cars, least likely to give up their smartphone. So they're, hey, what are you willing to give up or significantly cut down? And this is what it is. What's interesting, they did break it down by high school and college, so you can kind of look at it. So it's even worse that we see like the next generation grouping, I guess.
I wonder why they're convinced. That
and so, yes, they are the number
fight
one.
Climate change.
Yeah, number one on both sides, high school and college. 58% of college kids are like, get rid of my gas-powered car. 50% of high school kids are like, get rid of my gas-powered car.
Wait, Katie, how
Why?
many high school or college kids have a gas-powered car?
Right, now they don't. Now they're all fake.
They don't have any.
Well, actually, so many kids don't drive anymore.
That's true.
Because they just, for a variety of reasons. But, you know, because what's the number one thing that's been hit? Like touted, get rid of gas-powered cars. They're ruining theirs. So that's, of course, what they're going to say.
But gas-powered stoves, remember when the Biden administration said, hey,
Next.
and New York actually clamped down on the gas-powered stoves
and now
and
gas
penalized
stoves,
people.
gas stoves is so passe now, David. It's your ceiling fan. Did you hear that one lately? Yeah, last week that was a
What?
ceiling fans.
I'm out.
I'm
Don't
out.
take my
like,
ceiling fan.
We should be betting in Vegas. What's the next thing that you have to get rid of?
Unbelievable.
Is there going to be something with like door handles? Maybe something next.
It's gotta be something that's
certain type of
electric.
window. It's electric.
It's got to be something that's electric.
It's electric.
Yeah.
But dance. Okay,
So,
back to the survey.
Yes, let's look at this here.
All right. So the top three, they had gas-powered cars, gas stoves, airplane travel. Same thing, basically, with the high school and college kids.
How many of them travel by air, travel by plane? How many of them
Exactly.
have
All-
gas-powered
whatever.
stoves and cars?
But then what's interesting, the high school kids right now, kids, say that 18% would be willing to give up having children, but 30% of college students. So that's a bigger jump.
That's interesting.
And it might, honestly, it might change with those high schoolers once they get to college. And how many times have they been told by that at that point, you shouldn't have kids anyway. So we'll see if that changes. But these people, high schoolers and college kids, 12%, 13% respectively, will not. They're like, I will give up my smartphone. Only 12% say, yes, I will give up my smartphone.
But look at air conditioning and heating. Don't take my AC either. 17%. Are willing
they're
to
like, I want to
go
live
without
in
the
comfort.
AC.
Do not take that. They're only 12% are willing to give it up. Only 13% are willing to give up smartphones. Only 11% air conditioning and 17% air conditioning, high school versus college. It's people want their comforts. They won't have the kids, but
And it's interesting that the top, in my opinion, the top three things that they say no to, that they're saying, I would give up, most of them don't even have. I would love to know how many of these high school students or college students have gas-powered cars. I would love to know how many of them have gas stoves or even in their house. But if they're college kids out on their own, do they have a gas stove? And how many
Microwave.
of them? How many of them travel by plane?
Correct.
So yeah, they're willing to. Basically, they're not willing to sacrifice a whole lot, but they're all in that they're before climate change. I mean, that's a problem. We got to get rid of human beings and all that. But so what sacrifices are you willing to make? Well, maybe we won't have kids.
We won't have kids, but give me my cell phone.
Yeah. All right, give me my technology.
Because that's
Don't
how,
touch technology.
in their mind, that's how kids are going to be made now. Like AI children, like they are okay. In their mind, that will continue the world's population, not the actual having of the children, which truly does continue the world's population. But in their mind, yeah, AI, it's like having a kid or a petamore. Should we go back to that story, petamore?
No, let's not and say we did.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, we have more important things to do now.
Yes, we do.
Like choose what is the top echelon of all headlines via the Babylon Bee. That's coming up next.
If you have a smartphone, tablet, Roku, or Apple TV, consider downloading the Freedom Project Media app. It's 100% free and includes all of our weekly shows, plus lecture series, archive programs, and award-winning animated videos for families like the Presidential Minute, Battles of America, and Heroes of the West. Don't rely on the social media giants to keep you informed. Simply download the Freedom Project Media app from your app store and allow notifications. And we'll let you know when a new video is ready.
All right, before we wrap up the show for the day, let's take a look at everyone's favorite satire site, the Babylon Bee.
Here are this week's top 5 Babylon Bee headlines.
Okay, we've picked our favorite headlines, except for Katie. She hasn't seen them, as always. And now we're going to decide which one of them should be named Queen of the Hive. Let's start with this one. Trump pays $12 extra to get cool laser background mugshot. Next, Biden tells fire victims he sympathizes because one time he walked on the beach without sandals and the sand was really hot. Next, Biden awards Hawaii official Medal of Honor for saving water during fire. Next, nations starting to suspect Biden actually a terrible person. And finally, CDC announces deadly new election Omicron COVID variant.
Is there an X in there? Is there a Y, a Z? That basically the election Omicron is like every letter.
Yeah, I actually shared that on my social media already.
You?
That election Omicron.
Nice.
But
Very
I want to
nice.
know what your favorite is.
Okay, I lulled, as you saw, on that very first one because you take it back. Man, I never got the laser beams in the back of my school photos. Donald Trump got the cool laser beams in the back of his mugshot. That's hilarious. That is... takes me back to my childhood.
Extra.
Yeah, but that being said, the one that is way too true is the fact that people are realizing that Biden's actually a terrible person. Like, the more that comes out, like, I think
and the picture
you are starting to realize he is actually a terrible person.
So that what event here that shows him
That's-
sleeping, that was at a benefit or something for the victims in Hawaii?
And he's sleeping. He's basically, he can't be bothered that all these people lost their lives and their livelihood and their houses and everything else in Maui.
And but you know what? I mean, he's an
He's
old man
sleeping.
and he is tired. I mean, he's gonna
That's
he's gonna
true.
sleep.
That is also true.
That's not why he's a terrible person.
No, that part is.
Look at his policies.
Look at his actions.
Yes.
Family
Oh my
actions.
goodness. But yeah, I agree that
Yeah. Anyway,
he's at this thing. I like the election Omicron.
Your election.
Yeah, like I said, they're gonna push something that's gonna mail-in ballots are gonna be the thing,
Oh, of
and
course
people
they are,
can't go
yeah.
to the polls. You can't go out in public.
Nope.
You got to vote, even digitally. However, election year, be afraid, be very afraid, because there's an election next year.
Oh, there
I know.
is.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna start talking about that soon, Katie. But anyway, that's gonna wrap up our show, or at least our top headlines for the week. More satire next time.
Oh, always the good satire.
Yeah.
Now, if you are a fan out there of this very show, if you
Yes.
could and would be so kind of you to like, to comment, to share, to subscribe, to comment via sending us messages. That would be great. Questions, concerns. What are your thoughts and your feelings? We'd like to know. Now, for David and myself, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for supporting this very show. Until next time, stay educated.